One of the first metaphors I used for INFJ energy evolution was the glove. And I've used this probably like even 10 years ago. What we as INFJ have to learn is that we have to turn our energy inside out. It really is all that. And I'll explain how this works to you very clearly, because we as INFJs, we come equipped with an energy that's super potent. But most of the time we're leaking that energy around. We are creating codependent situations. We are in situations where our power is being misunderstood, where it's being not respected, and we at the same time are not respecting what we bring to the table. And so we really have to master our energy. It has to evolve. And once it evolves, it becomes a system that runs on itself. So today we're talking about 5 signs that your INFJ energy has evolved and you're stepping into your fullest form of power. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this before, to download the free poster on INFJ Mastery or the 2025 goals. There's so much free material you can tap into. And if you want to take it to the next level, then check out the courses that I offer or work with me 101. Everything you need to know you can find through the links in the description. Sign number 1, you don't absorb any more chaos. So this is something that you really feel in your body. I have people in my life who've tried to, put their trauma onto me without even thinking about it. So there's chaos in their life, in their relationships, in like their work situation, whatever it is. And I was there. I was there listening to it. I was there absorbing it. I was pretty much the one who relieved them from having to deal with their chaos in their life, right? And this is something we can do. We can absorb it and we keep it. And we have to learn that this is not our place, because just because we can do it doesn't mean that we should do it. This is really a form of using our energy at a low level. Like, this is something where our energy is not evolved. We can do better. That's all I'm saying. We can do this, and there are situations where this is appropriate, but most of the time when we're in situations like this or in relationships like this, you're not really helping that person, because that person will continuously put themselves in other situations which will evoke the same effect, and then they will come to you and think it will be a relief. So it doesn't really help anybody. So what do we learn from the situation? Like, I have seen situations like this, and now I'm completely numb. I don't care. Like, I've really gotten to a place where I said, well, if something tragic happens because I didn't listen, then that's how it is. There's so much tragedy happening in the world. If I would concern myself with all of it, I wouldn't be able to do anything, because I don't have the clarity. I don't have the clean container of, I'm feeling good about myself. That's why I can give, right? I'm giving when my energy is overflowing. And when you see situations like this where you're not really helping a person, like a person who's constantly talking about like their bad coworker, doesn't want to leave their job, doesn't want to do anything about this, and continuously just expresses their anger towards you, this is not helping anybody. So this is chaos that you should not take on. And once you learn to let this go, that you don't have to feel it, that you have the right to be cold and detached at that moment, that does not make you a bad person. And to kind of like practice this, because we have conditioned ourselves and have been conditioned to absorb this by default, because otherwise we feel like we're not good people, right? And this is something we learned in childhood. So this is something you can practice. And once you learn how to do this, it actually like frees up so much energy. So often we think about INFJs being so tired and we feel that we are lazy. No, we're not. It's just our energy goes into situations like this, and they're not really helping anybody. So let them deal with their chaos. No matter how painful it is, it's still not your chaos, and you're not doing anybody any favors by relieving it of them every single time for them to just kind of like take it on again. We want to change the entire narrative. We want to be the blueprint of this is what it means to stay in peace. Through that, we're teaching other people how to do that for themselves. Number 2, you express truth without validation. So there are things that I know are true for me. I'm not saying they're true for you, but they're true for me. And they're not only true for me, but they're also true for me from your perspective. So if I see a person and I see that that person is longing for a different life, then that is my truth. I'm not saying you have to believe it, but that is my truth. And I have the right to live out an example of who I am, to say things that I see, because it's my truth. And so often we say a truth and wait for there to be a validation. But that's what we INFJs can do, what most people can't. We can say truth without needing the validation, because we know that for us it's truth. Like, I know when somebody's in alignment, I know when they're not. I know when they're acting in a way that is not in their best interest and when they are. I'm not saying I'm always right. Of course, I'm making mistakes, but there are a lot of cases where I'm pretty certain. Like, I know that this is what's going on. And yeah, there's always a chance that I might be wrong, but I'm probably right. And even if I'm not 100% sure, I'm not making other people live by my truth. I'm just saying that's the truth, how I see it and how I live it. And that's how I see the world and that's how I move through it. So let's really start being the person who does this and speaks the truth and lives out the truth without waiting for the validation. Let other people catch up. Don't look for somebody who will mirror back to you that, oh yeah, you're right. You're living the truth and I don't. No, like, it doesn't work. Every single person has their interpretation of life. And when it comes to living out our truth without needing validation, this is something where we have an advantage over other types. It's just something that we're naturally good at because we can get in alignment with our intuition, with higher consciousness, all of that, without needing like the direct feedback from people that this is right. Some things we just know are the way they are. Sign number 3, you ground your energy first before you give it to others. So this is the typical thing that I say, you give of your cup of energy when it's overflowing. First and foremost, we're making sure that our energy is used for us being the best version of ourselves. And that includes, super important, that you take actions in the real world that represent this. As long as this stays disconnected from your real life, you can't sustain it. It just is something that is in your mind. There has to be some kind of tangible result, something that people could theoretically see. I'm not saying they have to see it, but there has to be something that is tangible. Those videos are tangible. Me working out things and concepts in my mind are not tangible. When something exists, and it can be a conversation with a friend, it can be a post on Instagram, it can be you speaking your truth when it's uncomfortable. Like, every single time you say something that another person could theoretically see, you're making something tangible and you're grounding it. And the more you do this, it's like you're putting anchors around your energy. You're saying, I'm creating this world and I'm influencing the world. The world doesn't influence me. Like, I'm creating this space, this is mine, and nobody can take it away from me. And the more you ground this, the easier it is to create an energy system that is overflowing, and then you can give. We all want to give of our energy. Like, it's just a human need to want to add to the collective. Like, come on, who doesn't want to do that? But it only works if it's sustainable, and it always starts with us grounding ourselves. You have to come first. So if you really want to learn more about this, check out the audio guide. The audio guide is really about grounding yourself in reality and then continuously taking steps. It's like this spiral formula. I also have a free poster on this. So if you check out my website, you can see the poster there. I'm not really sure how it's called. I think it's called the INFJ Epic Life Formula. But that goes with the audio guide. So just as a side note, if you're interested in that, go check that out. Sign number 4, you see people's pain and you don't make them yours. So many INFJs feel like if they see somebody's pain and they're not taking care of it, they're not relieving them of that pain, then they're bad people inherently. And we have to come to terms with the fact that this is a process that is not natural. This is a process that we have been conditioned to, that we have conditioned ourselves, and it's not in anybody's best interest. You are not responsible for other people's pain, period. That's it. You might want to help people, but at the end of the day, pain is always there for another person to alchemize. It's there to show a person what they need to live more out. And yes, there are traumatic events that happened, that they have experienced. And even that is not something that you can take away from another person. They have to find a way to work through it, because every single time when you've tried to take that pain away from others, it didn't really go away. Like, people will continuously fill up their bucket of pain if they haven't learned how to heal that part. And by you taking on other people's pains, they're not really forced to look at their own pain. It's like substance abuse. It numbs the problem, but it doesn't really make it go away. You can support, you can uplift, you can be an example of what it means to work through your own pain and accept who you are, and the shame and the grief and all of those things that we're carrying within ourselves. Like, with that, you can help people with like having really strong boundaries on what kind of energy you allow in your space. Those are all ways how you can help others, but we're not taking over other people's pains. We're not doing this anymore when it comes to the evolution of our energy. This is just a behavior we cannot take with us when we evolve as human beings and as INFJs. And sign number 5, you're moving with purpose, not with pain. So this is the typical thing of we're not here to survive, we're here to thrive. We're not doing things to relive wounds. We're not here to, feel bad for people for all the pain that they have gone through. Like, yeah, this pain exists. It's a fact. Doesn't really help anybody by us wallowing in it. There's so many movements that are all about, like empathy is about being with people in that space and telling them you're not alone. Yeah, we can do this once and be there with them. But at the end of the day, when you remove yourself, they're alone there. And you cannot stay with them there forever either. On the other hand, if you actually move with vision, if you say, yes, we all have a lot of pain, but guess what? There are a lot of people we can lift up. There are a lot of people who will benefit from us standing in our power, standing in our vision. So I'm going to heal my pain. I'm going to maybe use that as fuel, but then I'm focusing on the future. I'm focusing on how can I make it better, not on all the things that are not working. A very practical example of this is if you have a horrible day at work, but you have like those 5 minutes in the morning where you drink coffee with your best friend before you go to work. We want more of that. We want that kind of energy. Those 5% of your day, we want to expand them. We want to see how can I lean into creating a life where those 5% become 10% and those 10% become 20%. That's how we create real change. This is what we're good at. And we have the chance to be examples of what it means to really be a representation of somebody who not only believes in a better future, but who is an example of how that looks like. So remember, if you want to take it to the next level, first off, check out the free material and then check out the program. So no matter where you're at in your journey, there's something for you. And if you want to get specific, then work with me one-on-one and we're going to tackle your life individually. And we can see what the next step in your evolution is and take that step together. Everything you need to know, you can find through the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.